Klingon motherfucker, do you speak it? Quentin Tarantino will be working on a Star Trek movie coming out soon. Okay, here's how it's going. JJ Abrams was reached out to by Quentin Tarantino about doing a Star Trek reboot, and it's not really clear if he's the director or the writer or the producer, or if Abrams is maybe stepping into one of those secondary roles. He probably is the director, considering all the Star Wars he's doing. And this is weird for me to get my head around, but I have to get out the facts first. Paramount is into this, and Tarantino has stipulated it needs to be rated R. So I like Quentin Tarantino. I appreciate what he does. I like Star Trek. I appreciate what it's supposed to be. Notice how the words changed. I'm not sure this is the right move at all to make, and by that I mean I don't think this is at all the right move to make. So there's a trend in Hollywood now to make gritty reboots. We had Guy Ritchie's King Arthur, which was more of a macho gangster deal, and we had Sherlock Holmes rebooted with more of a, I don't know, broed out sort of mixed martial arts vibe. I don't think reboots need to be gritty. I mean, not necessarily to make them sell. We have what we saw through the DCEU. Justice League was not well received, and I would argue that the Snyderization of DC has not been a good move for them, and that it's too gritty and it's too dark, and it doesn't need to be. Star Trek is one of the most hopeful stories you can possibly fathom in all of fiction, I would argue. I mean, even if you can argue that JJ Abrams stories themselves are not exactly where they need to be, because if you look back to the original series, Kirk, I mean, he was a womanizer, but he was also very likable. He treated the women in his life with respect. He and his crew were like a family, and that didn't really happen for the reboot movies until Beyond. But before that, I would argue they weren't really getting along. They weren't really friends. It wasn't this idealized, beautiful microcosm of what humanity could be if we could just love each other and work together for the greater good. What we have here, I mean, Tarantino does what Tarantino does, and it's good, but I don't really think it meshes with what Star Trek is going to be. And if it's just a further diversion off of JJ's vision, which, by the way, I like for the most part the reboots that JJ did. I am criticizing them because I don't think they're exactly true to the tune of Star Trek, but I still liked them. Please don't take me wrong on that. I don't see how this works. I mean, we saw this even in Star Trek Discovery, where we had this completely unnecessary nudity in a rape scene that didn't need to be there at all. It was fine being implied. I think it's just, we have Game of Thrones as such a big hit, but I think people are taking exactly the wrong lessons from it. Just like how James Gunn felt that people would take the wrong lessons from Deadpool, an R-rated comedy that worked because Deadpool works in that whole sphere. Not everyone works that way. And that's what I fear is going to be happening here. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are going to love this. I don't love this. I don't think it's the right thing to do at all. I think you're ultimately bastardizing what is a beautiful and complete world into something completely different and unnecessary. You may disagree with me, though. I believe there's a good chance you do, and if you do, that's fine. Please talk to us about it. Please get in the conversation over on our NerdAlert Facebook and Twitter.